What's going on? What's going on, family? What's going on with everybody? Shalom, everybody. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for tuning in. Got another awesome lesson that we're gonna look into today, and I think it's definitely something that we all should take heed to as we continue to grow within this walk. It's very important. So thank y'all for tuning in. We're going to get started here in just a second. And just sending out some invites right now. But definitely thank y'all for tuning in. Just a second here. Let me turn my notifications off. Hope everybody's doing well. Good to see everybody on as well, man. Hope everybody's doing great. And whatnot on this beautiful day. Well, it's not so beautiful here in Atlanta. It's rainy and chilly. But, you know, definitely thank you all for tuning in and always being on, showing your support. We got a lot of great things coming up in our congregation, boom, and a lot of things like that is definitely going on, especially for the month of March. This weekend, boom, Jacksonville has Sabbath service this weekend, and we'll be there this weekend, and it'll definitely be teaching on some identity this weekend. So it's going to be awesome, enjoyable weekend to be able to be with the Boom Jacksonville family. And so definitely look forward to seeing many of the family and everybody like that. So I hope y'all doing well. Again, I'm just sending out some invites here. So I'm hoping that you all, thank you all for sharing. I see a lot of you sharing the video. So definitely thank you all for that. Appreciate your support in that area and whatnot. And so blessings to you all. Blessings to you all. We're going to get started here in just a second. All right. Again, thank you all for tuning in. And definitely a blessing to have you guys with me here. All right. That's good enough right there. All right. So today, as you see on the screen, you see a lesson that we're doing today. This lesson is the ultimate mind of God, the ultimate mind of Yah, and wisdom. His wisdom is beyond our comprehension, beyond our grasp. I think sometimes we can become quite arrogant. And even the way we teach and our approach is as though we got him down to a science and we've figured him out. We have to understand that that there's even things that even that the Father and all of his wisdom and in the depths of him that he didn't put in the Bible. All right. I want y'all to understand that he has given us what we need, but he hasn't told us everything. All right. He has not told us everything. He's given us what we need, but he hasn't told us everything. He hasn't given us the entire blueprint. I mean, there isn't enough pages. There isn't even enough time to even write the level or the depths of his wisdom and who he is. We aren't even righteous enough to even declare his name. Even when it comes down to the names that we call him, he's given us a name that we should call him in the earth, but ultimately it's not his name. When we look at the Hamashiach from his spiritual or from his spirit state and where he resides, he was not a Christian. I want y'all to understand me very carefully. Let me say this slow for some of brothers and sisters that may not understand what I'm saying. when John says in the beginning was the word, we talking from before time. Christ was not a Christian before time. Christ was not an Israelite before time. He was born in the earth by a mother and a father who was an Israelite, but his spirit man does not make him an Israelite. Okay, I want y'all to understand that. Just like he's not a Christian in his religious, as his doctrine, he is not an Israelite. Okay, from the perspective of where John describes him, in the beginning was the word. Okay, so I think so many times we fail to understand that level of wisdom and understanding to where we approach this thing from the perspective of him being made in flesh, but not approach it from the perspective of him not actually residing in this present time as flesh. All right. He came to do what he had to do. This world is created, and this world only flesh dwells in the present, or in the state that it's in right now. All right. So he came in the same manner in which we came as men, even though our spirit man, all right, our spirit man comes from a place that is where the Father dwells, and is placed in a place, in a suit or a makeup that resides in what we know as earth, in this realm. But our spirit man does not come from this place the same way as Christ is. And I think that we have to view him from John 1. We have to view him from that, from John 1. Once we view him from John 1, then we will not limit him to being human. All right? We won't limit him to being human. Even though he came in the flesh, he was still divine. All right? He was still divine, because in the beginning, there was nothing made that was not made by him. So he has a level of power to be able to create, but also at the same time, he's still one who is not carnal. All right. And I think that we have to really grab an understanding of that. And so if we understand just the level in which he's given us, we will approach the scriptures and view the scriptures from a spirit mindset, not from a cultural, not from a fleshly lens. And I think ultimately that's what ended up happening when we're teaching from the scriptures. We teach as though the Father is human, and we talk as though he's human. That's why people can say certain things like Christ broke the law, to prove that you couldn't keep the law. Like, he's not human. Like, come on. Like, that don't make sense. That don't make sense when he's the one who gave the law. All right. When he's the one who's given the law, why would he break something that he told somebody else not to do? That just makes no sense. All right. It sounds cute and it sounds good in the realm of a doctrine that's within the world that you're trying to push your own doctrine. But that doesn't sound, that's nowhere near accurate from one who is not human. Okay. And when I'm talking about his thinking, his essence, none of that is human. That makes no sense. Okay. So let's look at this here. I want to deal with this because we have so much stuff going on from different teachings and things like that. And I'm here to tell you that no one has the Most High down to a science. And until we stop, we don't have to say we know his every step. The way we teach, the way we talk, we act as though we've got him figured out. We know his next move. No, we only know what he's told us. What about the other things that we don't know that he has not told us? And we see clearly in the scriptures where he will tell someone, don't do this, don't write this, don't say this, don't do this. All right. So there are times, all right, throughout the scriptures. And again, there's not even a book big enough to contain his wisdom and his knowledge and his intellect. We can only speak and proclaim what our minute minds can understand when it comes down to who he is. We can only speak and declare based off of our understanding, based on our minute mind. And that's a small portion versus his wisdom, his intellect. All right. And so that's the thing. We have to really look at this thing. And shalom to all the brethren and all the sisters that are logged on, that's tuned in. Thank you guys. Bless you guys for tuning in. Shalom to you guys. So let's look at this. All right. Let's look at this. Let's get an understanding. So let's go to the first thing. The first thing that we need to understand. All right. The first thing that we need to understand. Omniscient. Okay. Having complete or unlimited knowledge, awareness, or understanding, perceiving all things. Let's stop right there. This is the mindset. This is why I can say God and I can say God and don't have no problem with it. I can say God and the Most High ain't tripping. You know why? Because he knows all things. I can say Jesus, and you know why? You know why? There's no level of feeling as though I'm gonna be condemned or put to death. You know why? Because he's omniscient. He's not limited in his knowledge. He's not limited in his awareness. He's not limited in his understanding. He perceives all things. He perceives all things. So he knows exactly. And I can say Yahushua and don't feel like I'm going to be put to death for it. You know why? Because he knows all things. We argue, we have an issue because we're limited in our understanding. And so we limit our understanding and then we box the Most High in. We put him in a box. He can't be placed in a box. Okay? He's unlimited. His knowledge, his awareness, it can't go in this little box that we trying to put him in. This is why when we look at methods, we start tripping. We trip about methods because we're trying to box the Most High in to fit into our world of what we feel as though right. Now, mind you, he's not going to, his character and his essence doesn't go against what is written on the pages. This is how you tell the difference when you know that someone is not of the Most High that said that the Most High with them. If a person said that the Most High is with them, but yet they're doing things or saying things that goes against his essence and goes against his awareness and goes against his knowledge and his understanding, then of course that person the Most High is not with. That person the Most High is not with. But if you begin to look and you start tripping on alphabets, you start tripping on all these other things, and you start trying to limit him to a bubble. You limit him to Jesus. Oh, you can only say Jesus. There are people that's out here that will trip on you if you say his name in Hebrew, because they want you to say his name in Jesus, because there's only one name under given way name might be said. If you're not saying Jesus, well, you have to understand that before there was a name Jesus, before there was even a letter J, or before there was even a name Jesus, that there was other languages in which J's didn't fit into their cultural, into their cultural context. So therefore, if there are people that spoke a language, not English, that didn't have J in their alphabetical characters within their cultural context, how are you going to get mad because someone don't say Jesus? Or if a person that never knew Hebrew, but in their cultural context, they was raised up in a culture that uses the letter J in the alphabetical system, but yet they're talking about the one that's in the Bible. And I ain't talking about the one with the blue eyes and the long hair, all that other stuff. There are people that are more intelligent than that. Just because a person says Yeshua or something else in their culture context, okay, that doesn't mean that they are devils because they say Yeshua or because they say Yahawashai or Yahuwah or whatever. Or if they say Jesus, they aren't devils. It just depends on their cultural context. That's all. It just depends on the cultural context in which they were brought up. Okay? But the Most High he's all knowing. He's unlimited in his knowledge. He's not like man. That's why we can't trip off of someone using a method. Look at the method and ask yourself, can you find anywhere in the book from Genesis to Revelation where that method goes against anything that the Most High said? Then when you look at that, then turn around and look at the context of that method. And then you make the decision. Then you make that decision. But we can't box him in. We can't box him in. We can't box him in because he's unboxable, if that's a word. But you can't box him in. He's unlimited in his knowledge, in his awareness, or understanding. And we can't teach or treat him as such. Because when we do that, then we turn around and we try to make him human. We try to limit him. We say, no, you are limited in your knowledge. You are limited in your awareness. Let me tell you something. He doesn't have to look behind him. We have to, when we're walking down the street, we have to turn around and look to see who's following us. He is unlimited in his awareness. He doesn't have to turn around and look. He doesn't have to worry about if he doesn't sleep at all. But even if he decided to, he doesn't have to worry about if someone's going to break in his house. He already knows before when the person even thinks it, when it's in their heart, that while they're plotting on you, he's already aware of the plot. So if he's aware of the plot, he's not limited or weak in his awareness. He already knows the plot that's going to happen before it happens. That's why he put things in place. That's why we always should pray, Father, order my steps. Yea, do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. Why? Because as I'm walking through these valleys, he's already in his awareness, in his knowledge, in his understanding, in his perception. He's already understands the things that is coming after you or against you before you even get to the valley. He's already factored all of these things in. That's why when you are resolved in him and you know who you are in him, nothing matters. Nothing that anyone tries to do or say or anything, it's not going to hinder anything. No one can stop you but you. Hasatan can't even take what the Father had for you. All he can do is try to create things to get you to give up your crown, to get you to give up the things that the Father has already declared for you that. You're ultimately to be the one that gives up the keys to what the Father has given you to open. So if you don't walk through a door, it's because you gave that key up. It's because you gave it up. Hasatan himself can't even take nothing from you. Okay? So we have to get to the place where we stop acting as though he's not omniscient. And then we say stuff like this. Well, if somebody did this to you, how would you act? So now you're trying to bring the Most High. Well, if someone called you that, how would you act? Now you're trying to bring the Most High down to being on your level. And that's human. Because you're limited in your knowledge. Because you're limited in your awareness. Because you're limited in your understanding. Well, if he said, if how would you feel? I can't say. I can't put the Most High in my situation. Now, we can look at the sun, and there are plenty of times where we can say, if you ask me, well, what if this happened to Christ, how would he respond? Well, there's a lot of things that Christ encountered that we do, and we still have the opposite response that he had. We have a measuring stick with Hamashiach. Well, if someone said this about you, well, okay, let's go to. They said all kind of things. Big Mama had a understanding theologically that we don't have, and we're more educated. Big Mom say in her theology, in her day, in her culture context, is that they talked about Jesus, baby. So why should I respond opposite other than keeping my mouth closed and let the Most High deal with my situation? Because Hamashiach did the same thing. If you are responding, or let me say this, or if you are reacting to something or someone that says something about you, you respond opposite than what Hamashiach did, then of course you're not where you need to be. You're not where you need to be. We have a measuring stick of how we should do this. How we should do this. In his wisdom, in his understanding, in his unlimited awareness and knowledge, he already knew what the situation was. Half of y'all know people don't like you, and yet you still turn around and you respond to the very people that you know don't like you. Why? Why are you responding? What's the whole point of responding other than letting the Most High deal with your situation? Because when he deal with your situation, it's going to be dealt with right. It's going to be dealt with right. That's why Hamashiach can sit up there and folks can say all kinds of things. They can spit on them, they can beat them, they can do all kinds of things. Now, you only respond when the Most High tells you to respond. If the Most High ain't told you to respond, and if you do respond and you say it was the Most High, then we got to look at how you respond and what type of character in the way you responded. Because if you respond outside of the character of Hamashiach, then we know that he ain't tell you to respond. We know that the other spirit told you to respond or react. Or react. Hasatan reacts. Hamashiach responds. That's what it says. I do nothing without my Father telling me. So my Father speaks to me and I respond. If my Father ain't speaking to me, I have no word for you. I have no word for you. Until you start trying to act as though you God. And when you start trying to act as though you God, then I got to let you know who God is. That's the way Hamashiach responded. When folks tried to act as though they were God, act as though I can free you, I can do this for you, I can do that for you. Hold on, bro. You can't do nothing for me. There's nothing that you can do for me. The only reason why you're doing it is because the Father told you to do it. That's why if you're going to help someone, you help them if the Father told you to help them. And then whatever the results happen at the end of that, you're still resolved and satisfied knowing because you did what the Father told you to do and you didn't do something out of your own flesh. So therefore, you're not worried about any credit. You're not worried about anything coming back to you because the Most High is the one who's going to bring things back to you. He's going to make sure that you're provided for and taken care of. He's going to make sure of those things. But when you do things out of your own flesh, I'm helping you because this is what I want. I'm helping you because I want to make my name this. I'm helping you only because I want to come back later and say that I did this for you. No, that's not the reason why you do stuff for people. Hamashiach did stuff for people and say, don't tell nobody. We do stuff for people and we want to blast it and we want to talk about all our connect. Let me tell you something. It's wisdom not to tell people everything. I don't care what people say. People can say you secretive. People can say this. No, let me tell you something. You better use wisdom. You don't have to tell people everything. I don't care what people think about you. Some things are not to be told to some people. Some things aren't to be told to some people. You have to use wisdom in that area of knowing who you need to speak to. who you need to tell your business to. It don't matter what it look like. It don't matter what it looked like, how intelligent they seem, or how many connections they got, or whatever, anything like. No, you don't tell people everything. You don't tell people everything. It'll come back and bite you later. All right, let's move on here. Let's see what we got here. All right, Psalms chapter number 147. Psalm 147, 4 through 6. Look what it says. He telleth the number of the stars. He calleth them all by their names. Great is our Lord, and of great power. His understanding is infinite. But yet we walk around here like the Most High don't know who we talking about. We walk around here like the Most High don't know what you're doing. We walk around here and act as though the Most High don't see you. We walk around here and act as though we getting away with something. Let me tell you something. If you wicked, trust me, you're not getting away with nothing. You only getting by until it's your time to pay for it. You're not getting away, you're just getting by. This is the reason why I tell brothers and sisters, this is the reason why Christ said, listen, if you go somewhere and you tell the person what I tell you, if you go out witnessing and they don't receive you, shake the dust. Because they're not getting away, they're only getting by. Time allows you to get by until time comes to an end. This is why I don't get upset or try to you can't force people to get anything. You can't force people to change. You can't force people to receive any word that you're trying to say or however you feel. You can't force people to do nothing. If they're wicked, they're only just getting by. They ain't getting away. Christ already told you, shake the dust. For on the day of judgment, Sodom and Gomorrah will receive more mercy than that person that rejected you. So, I'm shaking the dust. Ain't no pressure on me. There's no pressure on me. I'm shaking the dust. But look at this thing. His understanding is infinite. But we constantly trying to bring him into our world. We act as though he don't know what's going on in the Christian church. We act as though he don't understand what's going on in Israel. We act like we got to make everybody aware of what's going on outside of our context. You think the Most High don't know what's going on with TD Jakes? You think the Most High don't know what's going on in ISUPK? And all these other places? You think the Most High don't know what's going on with Carlton Pearson, the Pope? We act as though the Most High isn't infinite in his understanding. We act as though the Most High is limited in his perception, in what's going on, as though he don't see what's going on. No. Have y'all thought maybe the Most High is one who orchestrating a lot of this stuff? Allowing it? Because in order for prophecies to be fulfilled, some things gotta happen. There's nothing wrong with being concerned. But it's a problem that I'm seeing is it's not concern that's going on with the people. It's trouble. A whole lot of people are more troubled than they are concerned. And that's the problem. You are more troubled, which tells me you scared. Which tell me if you scared, that tells me you ain't prepared to endure. Because if you're troubled by some of the stuff that we seeing that ain't even hit your door, what about when the stuff start hitting your door? That's why people fall apart, because they're troubled before it hit their door. Then once they hit their house, when something do hit their house, they fall apart. They give up on the Most High. They turn. They go here. They do that. They do it. They start seeking everybody else for information instead of praying and talking to the Most High, who's infinite in his understanding. Who's infinite in his understanding. We got to talk to everybody about our problems. It's bad that we talk to everybody else about our problems than we talk to the Most High. You know why? You know why? It's because we're always looking for sympathy and a response. We need a natural response in our ear that still doesn't give you resolve and satisfaction. Because you don't want the 5 people about your situation and all 5 of them gave you wisdom, but yet you were seeking through them. You weren't seeking the Most High. Not one time did you pray, did you put in any prayer time about your situation. You trying to seek other people. Let me tell you something. I can't do anything for you. Let me say that again. If there are results from anything I told you, it's because of your faith of what you believed. I can tell you all day long how to solve your problem. If you don't believe that the Father can do it, my words are nothing. My words are nothing. And the problem is we've gotten to a place where we think it's us, the one who doing the deliverance and doing the work. It ain't us who doing nothing. It's him through us that's doing the work. But it also requires you to have faith that it can change. If you don't believe your situation can change, or if you don't believe your spouse can change, if you don't believe that your kids can change, no matter how many people you go to see and talk to, it's not going to help. It's not going to work. There will not be any change because the source of what you're seeking, your change, is from men and not from the Most High. I refuse to talk more to men about anything than I do to the Most High. He says, look at the analogy that he uses. The analogy here is, he telleth the number of the stars. Now, look at the analogy. The analogy is this. You see how many stars out there in the sky? No man can count the number of them, but the Most High can. That goes to show his level of wisdom that you yourself is nowhere near or anywhere can comprehend. He's telling you that you're not him. He's not you. He don't think like you. He has more wisdom than you. He don't talk like you. He don't do the things that you do. So now I have to step back and look at things from a different perspective. When I see something that I feel doesn't add up to me, then I got to step back and watch it. And I have to pray about it and say, okay, Father, if this be you, reveal it. And then I have to wait the process and the time for him to do his thing. Because if I'm looking for a result, and I'm not just going to be looking for a result. I'm not going to just be looking for a result every day to try to find fault or find what I'm looking for. No, I'm going to pray about it, and then I'm going to wait, and I'm going to say, okay, Father, I'm waiting, and I'm open, and I'm prepared for the day that you deliver this to me, what I've been asking for. But I'm not going to sit around here. I'm not going to sit right here and put more time into seeing what I'm looking for than I am doing the work and more time than I'm doing praying and talking to the Father. So look at what it says here. He says, he telleth the number of the stars. This is the analogy of his knowledge, of his wisdom, the ultimate knowledge of Yah. He telleth the number of the stars. He calleth them all. Not some, not a few. He calleth them all by their names. Meaning that his knowledge, because he created the stars. His knowledge and the depths of his wisdom is so on another level to where this is the only analogy that our minute minds can comprehend his infinite wisdom. Y'all can't even understand what he's saying. So let me give you an analogy. Let me give you an analogy, because you look up in the sky and you see the stars. You know it's numbers of stars in the sky. No man can count how many. They can only estimate, not down to the actual number. That's the same way when you look at the earth size. Okay? Go sit down, Simon. They can only, close the door. Man can only give you an approximate number, not an exact number of how many stars are in what they call the galaxy. That's the same way when you look at the earth size. They can only give you an approximate. Go look at the calculations. Go Google the size of the earth and look at what it says. It's an approximate. It's approximately. That's not a definite number or a definite answer of the size of it, because they can't even calculate how big it is. So what they do is they give you calculations. No man has been to the sun. No man has been to the sun. So you know what? They can only give you an approximate roundabout number of how far the sun is from the earth. There is no actual approximate number because ain't no man been there. So when you start looking at these things, approximate, that means that when we give you a number that we think, well, the Most High knows how numbered the stars are in the sky, down to the last one, from the first one to the last. And then it even says he called them by their names. That means that even his creating of the stars, he had an intimate relationship with the stars as he created them. When he had an intimate relationship, when he said, man, he started calling the stars and he started numbering them, how many numbers that are doing his creation. He started having an intimate closeness to me, that he looked at it, the stars, and saw that the stars were good, that they were beautiful, that they was lovely. There was an intimate thing. He said, I know them by their name. When you know someone by their name, when you have a relationship with them, you treat those that you call brothers and sisters that you know by, you treat them with a level of delicacy. You treat them being delicate. He said, I know the number of how many stars in the sky, and I have a relationship, closeness with them, to where when I created them out of a love and a passion that I had. Then it says, great is our Lord, and of great power his infinite understanding. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me how many star numbers in the stars. See, that's what I'm saying. When cats start talking crazy, I'm going to start asking cats, yo, tell me how many stars in the sky. Y'all know, y'all got all this wisdom. Y'all know, y'all got all this wisdom of all this other stuff. Let me tell me, if you got all this wisdom about this Bible, tell me how many stars in the sky. Tell me that. See, that's what I'm saying. Some stuff you can't even just play. Don't even play with people. Don't even entertain having stuff. When cats start talking crazy, hey man, tell me how many stars in the sky. You know where the moon at. You know where the sun at. Okay, if you know where all of that is, tell me how many stars in the sky. Tell me that. Look what it says here. His understanding is infinite. The Lord lifteth up the meek and cast the wicked down to the ground. In his wisdom, in his infinite understanding, he looks at the meek and says, that is what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for your intelligence. I'm not looking for how much money you have. I'm not looking for all of these things that man looked for. No, if you're meek, if you have a level of humility, I can use you. Because people will see the love and they will see me through those who are meek. Those who are meek can see the Most High through you. Those who lack humility, those who are not meek, the Most High don't open doors for them. He doesn't grant them favor. He doesn't use them to the capacity that he desires. Because if he puts you in a place amongst great men to be able to give them wisdom of the things when it comes down to his word and the revelation he's shown you, he can't trust you to place you in that environment without you starting to act as though you're the one who's producing this knowledge. And so therefore, he doesn't open doors for men like that. Let's go to the next. Psalm 139, verse number 1. O Lord, thou hast searched me and know me. The Most High is searching people. What does that mean? He's searching. He's watching you. He's watching your response on Facebook. He's watching the things that you teach. He's watching how you teach. Do you teach from a level of arrogance? Do you teach as though you're above everyone else and that you're sinless? Do you teach as though you have him down to a science? Do you teach as though you have all the knowledge and the wisdom and that nobody else has? He's searching men. O Lord, thou hast searched me and know me. That means the Most High, you can put on a front to people as though everything is, and you got everything down and you live in the perfect world, but the Most High know you when you're not on live. The Most High know you when you're at the job. The Most High know you when you're by yourself. The Most High know you when you're driving in the car. The Most High knows you in all these areas where man is limited at. The Most High know you because he searched you and he know the things that you say out of your mouth is nowhere in your heart. Your outside is clean and plush, but your inner man is full of dead man bones. Your heart is wicked, and he searched you. And he knows you better than you know yourself. He knows you better than anybody else knows you. And ultimately, if you don't stop pretending to be what you're not, if you don't stop deceiving people and stop showing people that you got it all and that you know this and know that and that you're better than this or that you have the Most High will expose the things that he knows about you to the people. Because he can't allow you to continue to deceive the people. The Most High knows when you are talking in secret. The Most High is searched. He's not limited. He's on the phone call with you while you're plotting. He's in the car with you while you're thinking about doing something wrong. He has searched you and he knows you. Verse number 2, thou knowest my down sitting and my uprising. The Most High said, he knows you so well. He knows when you're going to sit down. Man, you talking about some ultimate wisdom. You talking about some, no lack of knowledge anywhere. He says, listen to what David says. He says, you know me so well. You search me so well. You know me. You know when I'm going to sit down before I even think about sitting down. You know when I'm going to get up, what time I'm going to get up out the bed before I even decide or think about getting up out the bed. Thou knowest my down sitting and my uprising. Thou understandest my thoughts are far off. You understand my thoughts of things before I even think it. You don't have to be close to me to hear what I'm saying. You're in eternity listening. And you hear. And you've already perceived what I'm thinking before I think it. You already know and understand the things that I'm going to do before I do them. So nothing gets past him. Nothing gets by him. Even if you calling him by the wrong name, he knows who you're calling on because he's not limited in his understanding, his infinite wisdom. His wisdom is so beyond and so infinite. He knows everything. Thou knowest my down sitting and my uprising. Thou understandest my thoughts are far off. Thou compasseth my path and my lying down, and art acquainted with all my ways. So people be like, man, I ain't know that joker was no, I didn't know that cat was down. He was dirty like that. Man, I didn't know that sister, she was down dirty. Like, I didn't know that sister was that type of person.
Daddy, is this my cookie?
Yes, go eat it.
Yeah, Daddy.
I didn't know that this person was like that. The Most High did. And the only reason why you know it is because the Most High exposed it, because he wanted the people to see it so they wouldn't be deceived. Then the Most High also revealed it to the person that thought that they were getting away with it as a means of his grace, so that way he wouldn't have to kill them. Because the Most High could take us out at any time just off the thoughts that we think. Have you ever thought about that? Before you even say it out of your mouth, you have been blessed to still even be alive for some of the things that we think about people. Some of the things how we think about people. So you know what? Because of the Most High's grace and his mercy, he says, I'm not going to kill him. I'm just not going to open no doors for him. Because the way they think. If they really knew how much I didn't like the way they think, they wouldn't think the way they did. If they really knew that I would kill them by how they think, they wouldn't think the way they think. But because of the mercy and the grace of Hamashiach, and because of him dying and living and raising from the dead again, we've been given an opportunity to not be put to death because of our ways. You are acquainted with all my ways. For there is not a word in my tongue, but lo, O Lord, thou knowest it altogether. You know everything, every word that's on my tongue. Think about it. I hope y'all really grasping this. I really hope y'all understanding this. I really hope this is really gonna do something to your mind and change your spirit, man. And maybe you wouldn't think the way you think. Because ultimately, there's going to be a time when this type of thinking, when these type of ways are going to run out for you. And the Most High isn't going to play with you. He's going to put you to death. Ultimately.
There is not a word in my tongue, but lo, O Lord, thou knowest it altogether. I know he said, listen what David said. He said, he knows my ways. He knows when I'm going to sit down and when I'm going to get up. He even knows the words that are on my tongue before I even declare them. You ain't getting by. I mean, you're not getting away. You're just getting by. But ultimately, getting by runs out. You could drive around in the car all day, running red lights, and don't never get caught because you're getting by. But ultimately, the day comes when it's time to pay up. But the getting by cease. And it's two things going to happen to you. You're going to kill somebody or somebody going to kill you. All because you thought you was getting away. But you was just getting by. You was just getting by. First Chronicles chapter number 28 and verse 9. Look what it says. And thou, Solomon, my son, know thou the God of thy father, and serve him with a perfect heart and with all mind. And with all mind. For the Lord searcheth all hearts and understandeth all the imaginations of the thoughts. Stop right there. Look at what he says. Absolutely, Avaya. Look at what it says. Let me tell y'all how infinite his wisdom is. If you just say, Lord, 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 help. If you never say Jesus, if you never say Yahushua, if you never say Yeshua, if you never say any of those names that we know him to be in the earth, if you simply just say, help me, the Most High is coming because he know who you, he's already searched your heart. If we turn around and we decide to say, you know what, we're going to call him the Word. If anything, if we want to argue about anything, if we want to get to that place, let's define him about who he is in eternity. In the beginning was the Word. So here it is. If we sit here and we decide, because he knows all things, he searched all hearts, he understandeth all imaginations of the thoughts. If we simply sit here and just call and just say, help me. I need your help. You never say a name. Help me. I need your help. I need you to come deliver me. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. He is coming running because why? He searched your hearts. Because his wisdom is infinite. He's not limited in like man in the capacity that he does not know all things. He knows all things. And so if you are never taught a name, and guess what? There are people who can call all the names in the world and he still ain't coming. You know why? Because he searched your heart and he knows that your heart is deceitfully wicked. On one hand, the person that never knows a name, he's coming to run. He's running. He's coming to rescue them. On the other hand, there's others who know the name or use the name that they know in their cultural context, and yet he's not coming to help them. Why? Because it all boils down to this. Do we respect? Do we acknowledge who he is in his essence and his character? Or do we just know him and acknowledge him because of what we know about him? That's the question. Look what he says. He says, look what it says here. It says, verse number 9, he says, Solomon, my son, know thou the God of thy father. Serve him with a perfect heart. Listen to this. I want y'all to listen. Not serve him because of information. Not serve him because of what you know. Not serve him about any of these things. Look at what he says here. He says, serve him with a perfect heart and with a willing mind. Why? Why do this, Solomon? For the Lord searcheth all hearts and understandeth. He ain't just searching without no understanding. He searches because he understands all the imaginations of thy thoughts. We just looked at what David said. David said, you know when I'm going to sit down before I sit down. You know the words that's on my lips before I even say them or declare them. So you're not limited in any capacity. You have the imaginations of the thoughts. If thou seek him, he will be found of thee. But if thou forsake him, he will cast thee off forever. What you're gonna find out here is that they had a more understanding of who the Father is, more so than we do, because they served him out of the love. They honored him out of the love. That's what they did. And they taught their offspring, and they taught their community that we serve him and we call upon him because he's infinite in his understanding, because he's unlimited in his perception, in his knowledge, and his awareness. He's unlimited. So every step that I take, everywhere that I go, I know that he's watching. No matter what comes my way, no matter how cloudy it seems to look, I'm not going to second guess that he's with me. There's no situation in this earth that will cause me to second guess. If I lose my job, I ain't second guessing. If my spouse leave me, I ain't second guessing. If my friends turn on me, I ain't second guessing. No matter how many, if I lose my car, I ain't second guessing. If I lose my children, I ain't second guessing. There's nothing in the world that can cause me to second guess that he's with me, because why? I'm searching and I'm serving him, and I love him because of who he is, because he's unlimited in his awareness. He's unlimited in his knowledge. He's unlimited in all the capacities in where I'm limited at. So therefore, there's nothing going to cause me to shift or question him being with me. The reason why people shift and second guess and people do things opposite is because they don't know him. How many people you know turned their back on him and called him Yah? How many people you know turned their back on him and called him Jesus? How many people turned their back on him that you know that called him Yahuwah? How many people, they didn't know him intimately? I can know a man on my job that I work with every day, and I only know him by his name. I don't know him when he goes home. When he leaves that job, I don't know who he is. That's why people be shocked and surprised. Like, man, this is the nicest guy at the job. How much time did you spend with him away from the job? Well, I didn't hang out with him away from the job. I just knew he was nice at the job. But when he left the job, you didn't know that he was a murderer. You didn't know he was a rapist. You didn't know that he was all types of things that would go against the commandments of the Most High. But yet you knew how nice he was at the job. We can't know the Most High when we just reading the book. I got to know him when it seems as though hell is happening. I got to know him when it seems as though things are going good. I got to know him when I don't have a Bible in my hand. If they took all the Bibles away, I still got to know him. I can't be so driven to know him by what I read and not who he is by his essence. Hasatan knew who he was more than just reading. And he still turned his back on the Most High. He still turned his back on the Most High. Let's keep reading. Isaiah 40:28. Hast thou not known? Hast thou not heard that the everlasting God, the Lord, the Creator? Let's stop right there. How many names did Isaiah call him? How many names? We can see there. We can see Elohim there. We can see Yahweh there. We can see several names there. I heard the everlasting God. We see Yah. We see all of these, he called different. He said the everlasting God, the Lord, the Creator. Look at what he says. Because even one of his names is the Creator. That the everlasting God, the everlasting Lord, the everlasting Creator of the earth, of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is weary. If you say you in him and he's in you, then why are you more weary? Why do you talk more about weariness and being troubled than you talk about that he's with you and encouraging the people of the Most High that he's with them? All we spend more time about is talking about being wearied and troubled. We don't talk about him fainting not. That he's omnipresent, that he's omniscient, that he knows all things, that he's unlimited in his understanding. We don't talk about that. We talk about weariness, being troubled. I don't know him by a man that fails. I'm talking about me. I'm talking about my household. We don't know him as a man that fails. We're not concerned about half the things that people are troubled by. We do get concerned. It's a difference in being concerned and troubled. We're not sitting around here having a pity party about anything. Because regardless of how things are going in our life, in my house, and this is what I'm instilling into our church community, into our boom community. We got heritage. We got identity. We need faith. We got heritage. We got identity. We need faith. Because when hell hits your house, you got to believe that he's with you. You got to know that he's with you, regardless of what's happening around you. Regardless of what happened around you. That ain't a Christian concept. That's a God concept. And God ain't a Christian. Neither is he an Israelite. You an Israelite that's limited. You might be a Christian that's limited. God ain't a Christian and God ain't an Israelite. And God is not a Gentile. So if I say that greater is he who is in me than he that's in the world, then I have to understand that the Creator, that the God, that the Lord, that he's with me. He doesn't faint. He's unlimited in his understanding. So therefore, my response and how I act and how I view things have to be from his perspective and not from the world. That's why everybody's trying to argue about who's right and who's wrong. You got these apologists out trying to argue about the Hebrews are wrong. You got everybody trying to argue about who's right and who's wrong, because the point is that everybody's trying to prove from their own carnality and their own perspective about who's right and who's wrong, and they ain't sitting around and let the Most High prove and show who's right and who's wrong. Even the comedics got knowledge. The atheists got knowledge. But the Most High is unlimited in his knowledge. And the Most High exalts the meek. That's what he's building. He's building a nation of people who have the fruits of the Spirit, who's meek, who's humble, who knows him, not just by reading. He faints not, neither is he weary. There is no searching of his understanding. The Most High is not a Christian. The Most High is not an Israelite. The Most High is not a Gentile. His essence doesn't even come close to the three. And all three find themselves fainting. And the Most High still reigns and rules. His kingdom, there is no end, because he does not faint and he is not weary. All the hell going on in the earth doesn't cause him to faint. It doesn't cause him to weary. When Lucifer fell, his kingdom did not fall. When Lucifer tried to overthrow, his kingdom did not fall. So if we're going to say that we are the people of the Most High, let's start thinking like the Most High. Let's start acting like the Most High. Even though we're still limited in our understanding, in our weakness, he becomes our strength. And we need to be more resolved than we are troubled, than we are weary. All praise to the Most High. Thank y'all for tuning in to this lesson, man. I'm going to get up off of here. And blessings to you all. I pray that this lesson really helped you. I pray this lesson really edified you. I'm going to get ready to get off of here. And I love all of y'all with the love of Christ, man. Y'all be blessed. Y'all stay up. If you're in the Jacksonville, Florida area this weekend, come fellowship with us at Boom Jacksonville. If you live in Atlanta or have friends in Atlanta, definitely feel free to come out. Just hit me up in the inbox. If you're looking for a place to fellowship in the Maryland area or the Virginia or DC area, hit me up. We have a congregation out there as well. If you know family and friends out there, definitely hit me up as well. Don't forget, if you guys want to drop something in the Cash App, you can at $ It's Majors. That's $ITS MAJORS. All right. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/It's Majors and 1. All right. It's Majors with an S1, the number 1. All right. Shalom to you all.